Hi, my friends. I want to talk about consistency. And this is going to go into taxation as well. And the wealth inequality in the United States is so unequal. The top 1% has it all. The bottom 99 doesn't have anything. As if the top 1% is forever endowed to be the top 1%. This is not Victorian England where you're born into wealth and your wealth transfers down and down and down. America isn't like that. The top group of wealthy people changes every year. Now, there are some who consistently keep it. Jeff Bezos comes to mind as one who has consistently been in the top percent for the last 20 years. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. There are some few people that do keep their wealth because they got so much money of it. They got so much of it. Notice those are all entrepreneurs too, by the way. But the people who inherit the wealth, the people who just are corporate CEOs and whatnot, corporate execs, these guys generally come and go like you changing your underwear. So the idea of this wealth inequality, it's fleeting, man. Poor people become rich people become poor, and everywhere in between. That's what makes America flipping awesome. You can be rich. You can. It takes hard work and it takes a lot of luck. Hard work doesn't necessarily make you wealthy. That's a fact. You just got to work hard. You'll be successful. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. And in fact, there's lots of evidence that you don't even have to work that hard and you'll get successful. Sometimes it's just good old-fashioned luck, man. No other way around that. But I'd say a lot of the most successful people create their own luck. They're in the place to benefit from it. All right, but I want to talk about something real quick about Bill Belichick and the Patriots. And this is going to go in what I'm just talking about here. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have had 17, and actually Tom Brady won't be in this, and I'll share with you why. 17 consecutive years of winning 10 or more games. 17 consecutive years of winning 10 or more games. The last time they did not win 10 games, Maddie, my oldest, who's a third year or second year, I can't remember, Georgia Tech, where I'm going to get right now, was 2 years old. None of my other three were born. Think about that. This is the NFL, too. This isn't the old days of your Montreal Canadiens and New York Yankees and the dominance of the Pittsburgh Steelers, where the pre-Kurt Flood days where you could lock up people. They had no rights for free agency and whatnot. This isn't the old days of just dynasties like that. This is the new NFL where I find that incredible. 17 straight years. Just listen to my man Clay Travis talk about the Rams fall from grace. And this happens every year. How the Rams last year were the cat's meow, and then just 1 year later they're not. And Clay was talking about how everyone's smoking on sweating Lamar Jackson. Look, I like the idea of a running team. I like 3 yards on a cloud of dust. So the fact that the Ravens ran the ball 48 times last night or something like that for 250 yards. I mean, that's football the way it's supposed to be played. A quarterback who can do that is great. Now, a quarterback who does that consistently is going to be short-lived for the NFL, unfortunately, simply because he'll get hurt. RG3 is a perfect example of that, which broke my heart because I loved RG3. The days of Fran Tarkenton and stuff like that, they're just over. I know we got Russell Wilson and stuff, but there's those are few and far between, those scrambling kind of quarterbacks anymore. There's just not that many left. There's not. So anyway, I don't know. I haven't watched any Ravens games. I don't know what Lamar Jackson is doing to make everyone sweat him now. But the facts, the Ravens aren't a huge winning streak. But if they're running the ball 48 times, that's got less to do with the quarterback and more to do with the offensive line and the play calling. And that's old school football, which I love. Even though I hate the Ravens. But anyway, so we got is Lamar Jackson a flash in the pan? I don't know. But don't forget, RG3, Colin Kaepernick, even Vince Young had a couple of good years. Michael Vick had a couple of good years. Vick was actually he was a extraordinarily good talent. He's not the running quarterback a la Colin Kaepernick or RG3. Vick had that arm. It was fun watching Michael Vick. You might hate the guy. I couldn't stand Vick, to be perfectly honest, because the way the media portrayed that guy in terms of he's a savior. I just said, man, just let him play quarterback. I can't go along with the people. The sports media is the worst. It's just, I'm just like, dude, just stop kissing this guy's butt. We know why they're doing it. I just, stop it for heaven's sake. But Vick had that monster arm on top of his ability to run, and he was just a good quarterback. It's too bad that he ran into some foul trouble or trouble with the law, and he shouldn't have done what he did. Everyone pays the price, fortunately or unfortunately. Everyone ultimately pays the price, and Vick did. And actually, Michael Vick, he was the general manager for the Atlanta Legends here in the AAF, and so I don't know. Vick was always like a turnaround, a comeback kid to me. I always hated the Eagles. Even when I lived in New Jersey, I hated the Eagles, and Vick was there, and I religiously rooted against him. And it's funny because that's when Andy Reid's last year, and they wanted Michael Vick and Andy Reid to go packing because that last year they started the year I think 3-0, and then they just fell off a cliff. It was actually kind of funny to see the Eagles fan just, Andy Reid's got to go. And, of course, Andy Reid goes to Kansas City, and Kansas City's been stellar since. We'll see what happens to Patrick Mahomes. It's interesting how he had one good year. One good year, started this year pretty good, and, now he's hurt. And that's not Tom Brady-ish, let's just put it that way. And it will be interesting to see what happens to Mahomes. All these people throwing, I was just listening to, what's his name, Clay throwing Patrick Mahomes in with Drew Brees and Tom Brady. I'm like, you kidding me? Aaron Rodgers. You need to talk about Aaron Rodgers. How could just nuts? What's this guy doing? Anyway, so think about it. The reason Tom Brady isn't part of that 17 years is because it's 2009, I think, is when he bust up his knee and didn't play the whole year. In fact, against the Chiefs, if memory serves, and he was out. And the Patriots still, I think they started the year pretty poorly, but they came back to be like 10-6, but they didn't make the playoffs as a 10-6 team. And I remember that. I was like, oh man, the Pats, I was bummed because if they would have made the playoffs that year, that would have been like, I don't know, 18, 19, 20 straight years of making the playoffs, which is insane. But that one year when Tom Brady was out, they still went 10-6. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who the quarterback was. I got him on the top of my mind. I just forgot. They went 10-6 that year, and actually still didn't make the playoffs. Even though I think there was a division champion. I think that was 2009 that went 9-7 and did make the playoff. I can't remember, but I just remember that was the 1 year Brady wasn't there. So they went 10-6. And they didn't make the playoffs, but you can't really attribute to Brady the 17-year streak simply because he wasn't on the team as an active participant, let's put it that way. But anyway, consistency. I mean, you think about consistency in the NFL and how hard it is. Oh, that's what I say. So Clay Travis was talking about how Jared Goff was guaranteed like $100 million. I just sit there and I just don't understand, like, what's his name? Sean McVay, is that his name? Who's the coach of the Rams? I mean, have one good year, and everyone. It's a weird. I sit there and I just wonder because you're like, dude, you had 1 year. Have you not seen what happened to Vince Young? Have you not seen what happened to Colin Kaepernick? Have you not seen what happened to all these other also-rans? And then you got a guy like Joe Flacco, just unassuming, boring guy from the University of Delaware. And he comes up and leads the Ravens to 2 Super Bowls, right? One, but I think they won one and lost. I can't remember. It's like you're just consistent. Why? Because they got a running game. The Ravens always had a running game and defense, which means they're always going to be a good team, a competitive team. There's no other way around that. Steelers, running game and defense, always. And those are teams that win consistently. So a guy like Ben Roethlisberger, is he a great quarterback or is he in a good franchise? I mean, you got to look at it like that. I mean, I hate the Steelers, but I got to tell you, he's a great quarterback because regardless of the team or the system, facts are he's the guy producing year in, year out. So you got to give it to him, even though I would suggest it's not necessarily so much Roethlisberger as it is the system, but it doesn't matter because he is what he is. And forever will be known as Ben Roethlisberger. I think he won 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe lost one. But anyway, at the end of the day, that's consistent, but not to the extent of the Patriots. 17 consecutive years winning 10 games. I think they've only missed the playoffs 1 time in the last 20 years, which is freaking insane. Never mind the 6 Super Bowl wins, the 3 Super Bowl losses. They go to AFC championships basically every year except for 2 or 3. It's just insane. It's insane. You just don't see that. You don't see it in the corporate world. You don't see it in any other sporting. I mean, it's nuts to me. And I'm admiring of how, and they